All right, we're live. Are we on? If we've ever felt like old people, it's right now.
Who are you talking to?
We're live.
There's nobody on here.
Well, how do we know? Someone's on.
Oh,
Look, they're waving. Wave back. I don't know what we do. This is our very first live.
Like, can people re-watch lives?
I don't know. We have literally been staring at this phone for like 5 minutes. You know those old things where the old people are like, what are people on? But look here, people are on. There we go.
Oh,
okay.
Hey, Bree Hill Creative.
Oh, hey. Bree Hill, Susie School, Melissa. Hey, people did show up.
Hey,
Thank you, everybody. This is our very first live. Clearly, we don't know what we're doing, but we're just going to do a live haircut. Wyatt's going to try to read that far away, read all the questions, and we're going to go from there. So he doesn't totally need a haircut, but this, I'm being like a really good wife, and I'm going to give him a haircut before it's like super, super overdue. So I'm going to start with my one guard. I'm going to put the blade or the lever down, so it's basically like a 1.5. We're just going to start going.
So what are you telling them to ask questions?
Yeah, so anyone can ask questions. I'm going to tell them about the haircut. And then if they want to ask questions, they can ask questions. If they want to ask tax questions, they can ask tax questions. Basically, just doing a live because. Okay, I thought I saw. I wonder, where are the kids? Oh, Bree. Let's plus that everyone's bedtime went a little bit smoother than ours. Our kids are in bed. We're hoping that they're asleep, but they were basically threatened not to come out of their room during the live. So that's the kids situation tonight. I was ready for bedtime by like 5:30. So it was an early one tonight. Okay, so why your job is to read all of these.
Melissa, will I come to Utah and do your taxes? Yeah, if you'll pay me in like an awesome dinner or something. That's all I require is a big steak.
We're easy to please.
Maybe some Top Golf.
Top Golf and Melissa's dinner. There you go.
Have you done a live or a video on IG for cutting curly hair?
Yes, we have done an IGTV for cutting men's curly hair.
And you can find that how?
Go to my IGTVs on Instagram.
Sweet.
And they will be there. How curly are we talking though? Answer that back. Are we talking like wavy? Are we talking somewhat curly? Because he's got like somewhat curly hair.
Melissa said throwing the brisket on.
Yes.
As long as you're willing to extend.
I drive to Utah for any of Melissa's food, let's be honest.
Ringlets, Shirley Temple. I think that's how curly.
Okay.
Slow down, we need the hair steps.
Okay. Good call.
Thank you, Abby.
This is a hair page. So I did a 1, then I put a 2 on, and I put the guard up, so my blades are close together. Then I put my guard down, so my blades were farther apart, so it's a 2.5. So I did a 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Now I am just wetting the top down, so put your head down so they can see like curly. This is like kind of curly, kind of wavy. So I'm going to show you exactly how I cut this part. Okay, I need you to totally slouch. This is what you don't see in the tutorials. Wyatt's basically doing like a full-on ab crunch when I'm cutting his hair. So I comb it down, and then I do that mohawk section right in the middle. Right there and right there. Now when I pull this up, this is going to just set my guide. It's going to curl over my finger. Okay, this is where you're going to have to... See how it's like curling over my finger? Don't worry, I burned myself on dinner tonight. I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to slide it against this middle finger right here. So normally if your hair was not curly, it would stand straight up. But with curly hair, it always like picks one finger to curl over. I usually have it curl over this middle finger, slide this part of my scissors, and cut. So see how easy that is? So you don't feel like you're cutting your finger, but you're also getting every hair. And then I'm going to match this part, and I'm going to go all the way back. So since we talked about it today, I am going to address this. I didn't even ask Wyatt if I could do this, but he is thinning just, just a little bit. He still looks totally manly. He still looks really great, but he is thinning a little bit right here. So one of the questions was like, how do you adjust a haircut for someone who's thinning? I'm sorry, I'm going to make you come up a little bit. So see right here how it's not sorry, babe.
Yeah, that's thinning.
That's thinning. See how it's not super thin right here or right here? When I come back to do the sides of his hair, I'm actually going to pull it back just a little bit. See how I'm pulling this hair back a little bit? I'm going to keep these front parts a little bit longer so it'll give an illusion of thicker hair. Okay, so now you gotta slouch. We're gonna move this up. We're gonna get better at this. Okay, can you read any of those?
Abby says, here for the manscape.
Put on the spot, Wyatt. I didn't mean to bring up the thinning hair. So right here, see how I'm gonna pull this hair. How am I gonna show that without someone recording? Pull that back a little bit. This is straight. So this is straight up right here. But with thinning hair, I'm gonna pull it back a little bit, and that'll give that front just a little bit longer, which means it'll give it a little bit, like the hair will be longer, illusion of a little bit longer. Okay. Oh my gosh, Scarlett, she's the one that I was telling you about, the one that is hilarious and makes the delicious food from Arizona. She's here.
What's up, Scarlett?
One of these days, Wyatt's gonna meet you in Island Park.
I'll meet anybody in Island Park.
About this time of year during tax season, it's like, we will do anything with anybody as soon as tax season is over. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just pulling little sections back. His hair's still curling over my finger a little bit.
I was trying to read something.
Oh, so the hair's still curling over my finger, so I'm going to slide this on the finger and get all of that hair. Okay, now you can put it up. Now you can read those.
Should the fair market value of free product given to influencers as part of a partnership be counted as income? Let me read that again. Should the free product given... the technical answer is yes.
You should read that out loud so we know what you're answering.
Oh, it disappeared.
Oh, okay.
Basically, if something is given, the fair market value of something is given to an influencer. So if someone gives you a free shirt, should that be counted as income? It's almost like a trade. If you're receiving something in trade but not actually giving cash, is it income? Technically, yes. Do many people do it that way? Technically, no.
Okay, we want to know...
How often do you cut it to keep the shape so it's easier to follow?
How often should I be cutting your hair, Wyatt?
I like it like every 3 weeks. I get it like every...
We're talking haircuts.
Not 3 weeks. A lot more often than that. You probably give me a haircut on average once every 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. I would say every month it would actually be easier if you cut it more often so you could follow your shape. Once you let it grow out, then you're basically starting from scratch, which is tricky. Okay, right here on the back, here's another part. Wow, that just got really dark. Let me turn on this light. Right here on the back, he is also thinning a little bit. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, if there's a thinning spot, I think one of the worst things you can do is like try to keep it long and cover it. So we actually take it short right here and kind of just embrace that. So right here, here's my guide, and now I'm just going to pivot around. Now right here on the back, See how I'm angling my fingers down like this? I'm not gonna go straight out because I'm going to take this part really short all the way up to that. So I'm going to angle my fingers down towards the back of his hair like that. And then you're just gonna pivot all the way around the back, and then I'll take my clippers up and get all of this. Okay, what's that one? People make this look really easy when they're like reading comments and talking at the same time. Okay, I'll let you do that. Okay, so now I've done the clippers, now I've done the top, and now remember I'm just going to join these two together. Since we are doing a live, I'm gonna show you both steps. Sometimes it's hard when I'm doing the video tutorials to show you like both steps because I don't wanna confuse you. But I've had a few people comment lately of wanting like to know how to blend without your clippers, because some people get a little bit intimidated with the clippers and the comb. So right here you can see this line. So this is the top part that's combed down, and this is the clipper part. Now we need to blend these two. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to, remember a haircut's all about guides. You're going to find your guide right here and your guide on the top. So you can easily find your guide at the top, and you can easily find your guide on the side. So you're going to take little parts right here, and there's my guide right there. The reason I like to do it with clippers is because my fingers are a little too big to get right down to as short as I cut it. So I am still going to have a little bit of a line, but I'm going to show you how to do it if clippers are not an option.
Someone just said this is the part of the hair, the hardest, or have the hardest time with.
Yes, okay, this is the hardest time right here. This, people usually get this really good and people can do this, but this part is where we really want to focus on. So I'm going to do two different options. Take little sections, and you're going to find the guide right here and the top guide right here. So how to find the top guide, there's the length, and you comb it down, and there it is right there. And then here's the side guide. Can you put your head forward? Right there. So basically I'm just taking this longest clipper thing that I've cut. Okay, let's show them again. So there's my top guide right there, and there's my side guide, and now I'm just going to connect those two. Because remember, every haircut has guides in it, so we need to connect the two dots, and then it will blend it together. So there we go. Take another part and cut that piece off. Now, the worst thing that you could do was round to the head and keep your fingers like, see how I'm rounding the head? You always want to keep that angle, because if not, you're going to cut all of this hair that makes it really cute for them to style. So pull back, blend all of that together. This part you also want to take tiny little sections, because if not, you'll have lots of cut marks right here on the side. So this is the option that you can do if clippers are just seriously not your jam and you get a little bit nervous and you doing like the clipper over the comb just hasn't worked for you. Maybe you can start with this way and then work your way. Now you can see that we still have tiny little lines. That's another thing that people struggle with that I'm gonna go over, how to get rid of these tiny little lines.
I'll answer your tax question in a few minutes.
What is it?
There's a couple of them.
How much do you need to make before filing taxes for a small business?
Well, there was one up here too.
Okay.
To answer your question quickly about married filing joint or head of household, typically it's always better to file married filing joint, even if you don't work. Better tax rates, better, more exemptions. Well, not exemptions anymore, but yeah, if you're married, file married filing jointly. There's very few circumstances that married filing separate or head of household would be better. Let's see, there's another one. Uh-oh. I scrolled and I almost knocked it out. How much you need to make before filing taxes for a new small business? If it's self-employment income, so business income, anything over $600, technically you'd need to file a tax return. Even if you make $600 but spend $1,000, you'd still be required to file a tax return. Okay, if you do a hard part on one side, do you do that same technique on both sides?
What same technique?
Not sure.
What technique I'm sure they'll answer back. So if I was to do a hard part, say on this side, I would take the shortest part of I would take the clippers all the way up to the part. And then right here, you can still do the scissors and the comb. Is that what you mean? Ask again if that didn't answer your question.
I'm also noticing I take full scissor cuts and you take small scissor cuts.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Sometimes when I've been doing this for a long time, I don't realize what I do. So you don't have to take like a big chomp every time. I actually really never do that. Because I've cut my finger how many hundreds of times. But when I come here, oh my gosh, how many times am I gonna have to move this thing? I just take like little cuts. Like my scissors are just like going like this the whole time. I also think that really helps, especially if you're cutting thick hair. These scissors are super great quality, but if you were to take like a big chunk, the scissors would push the hair through the comb or through the scissors, and the hair would kind of be cut like this, if that makes sense. Like we all know what that feels like to use like scissors that push the hair. If you're taking a big chunk and a big full cut, that's what's going to happen. So just take little cuts and go all the way up. Plus, I feel like I get a better cut because I'm taking smaller cuts. Hopefully that helps. Okay, I'm gonna move on with the haircut. So here it is with just the scissors and the, I wish we could get that up higher.
Can you hold it?
No, what I need you to do is do more of an ab crunch. It's like, we're gonna work on that.
I may fall off.
Because your bum is like totally off the stool. Okay, so you can see, like it's blended fine, and it would do a fine job, say if you had a little boy who was scared of the clippers. But it's blended fine, but my fingers just were way too big to get down to this really short part. So what I would highly suggest, sorry.
Literally fell.
What I would highly suggest is really learning how to do this. So take your comb, take your clippers without the guard on them, and move the guard or the lever up so your blades are close. So there you go, far apart and close. Then you're going to put your comb in. All that hair that's coming out, you are going to take your clippers and go right over it. Just like that. Now, the same thing with the scissors. You don't want to round with the hair because all of this hair needs to be kept to style. You just go straight up. And I'm not taking a ton off because I already did that with the fingers and my scissors. But you're gonna go straight up, and as soon as you run out of hair to cut, then you're done. Also, yes. What is that one?
Can your hubs teach all of our hubs to hold still and not look at his phone while being groomed? Asking for a friend. I usually fall asleep, so...
Okay, you usually fall asleep, but what else do you kind of do? If I'm in, this is the worst. When we're down in the salon.
I'm the easiest customer she has. Guaranteed.
He is like making, I don't know why he's making sure, I'm really good at this, but he is like making sure that every cut is looking good. He's usually like looking in the mirror going like this. So maybe have a husband watch this. Stick a sucker in his mouth. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna have you turn completely around. Oh, close up on your head.
On my bald spot?
On your bald spot. I really need you to like turn all the way around, not kick your feet up. Sorry guys, we'll get better at this live. Yeah, not kick your feet up. Okay, so see how this hair, you also see me like, I always teach you not to round with the head, but you also see me like pulling the comb in. That's to get the hair into the comb. Because if I were just to come here, I wouldn't get any of that hair. So I need to get that hair and then pull it out. Does that make sense? So this doesn't work. This, grab the hair and then fix your angle and cut. Okay, so remember how I said that I'm going to take this back part short because of this? Like, it's really not that bad. It really isn't, but I'm going to take my comb and my clippers a couple different ways because you want to go against the hair to make sure that you're not having any long pieces. Okay, let's go this way. Little footsteps around. This lighting's kind of making this haircut look, yeah, like that doesn't look good in the camera, but I promise it is going to look really good. So make sure, another big thing that sometimes people mess up on is they will not get their correct angle when they're doing this. And so they are like putting their clipper too far up and then you'll have a gash up here, or too far down like this. Like that, and then they're going to cut a gash right here. So just make sure you're right in the middle of that comb. Okay. Now,
Farther?
if you can't, yeah, I'm just gonna go to the front. If you can't see what we're doing, he's literally off the stool to be low enough. Okay, go around the front. Now we're just gonna do the front. Okay, sit up. Okay, you can sit up a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay, keep reading those. My son has 2 of those on the back of his head. Do I cut short all the way above them? Yes. Yes, that's what I would do. I usually, if you have like a little swirly, the hair always like roosters up, I would always, not always, most of the time I would just cut it short, and also use your texturing shears. If they stick up like crazy and his hair is pretty thick, I would just like texture around them and take them short, because most times those are just going to stick up no matter what you do unless they're really long.
Are you using the products in your haircut box?
What was that?
The question is, are you using the products in your haircut box?
Totally, yes.
Show them that.
I'm using all the products in the haircut box, of course. Obviously these water bottles that are continuous that I love, my scissors and my texturing shears that read the reviews, cutting comb. If you use just like a regular comb, you're gonna be shocked the difference between using like a really great cutting comb and a normal cutting comb. Clippers, I'm using the clippers that used to come in the baller box, and because of COVID, they don't make these anymore. So we are now doing different ones in the baller box, which are equally as amazing. Okay, so his bangs, I'm just going to comb them down. I'm really not going to take any length off. I'm just going to take like any of these long straggler pieces. This is the other thing with, if you're thinning a little bit, these sides can get longer. And so I'm going to take the unicorn horn angle. I'm going to take it up the front, make sure there's nothing long right up there. And then when I come to the side, I'm going to keep them a tiny bit longer, but also make sure that there's no like long piece that looks like you're trying to hide this section of the hair. So yes, everything I'm using are the products that come in the haircut box. I love everything that is in them, obviously for a reason. When I was trying to decide what to put in the haircut box, I tried out dozens and dozens and dozens of everything because I wanted to make sure that I could confidently sell these boxes and know that if someone bought my box, that it would help them get the best results. It is interesting that sometimes we think we can use different things than the professionals use and still get the same results. So I wanted to give really nice quality products to give you the best opportunity to get good results. Okay, something else that people struggle with, so you can see how we see this tiny little line. So this is where I switch from a 1 to a 2. So I'm going to put on my 1 guard again, and I'm going to put my lever down so my blades are far apart. This is where I'm going to turn the clippers a little bit diagonal and work on that line. Okay, keep reading this.
I feel like the tax questions are taken away from your...
No, this is what people want. People want way more tax than hair. Am I right?
When
Yes.
running a home business, what write-offs get overlooked? Asking best write-offs for a home business.
That's a great question.
Good question. The expenses you can take a percentage of your mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, utilities. That is it's a pretty strict rule. You've got to have a designated area in your home that you use solely for business. If you were to get audited and you say, I use my living room for business, they would disallow those write-offs because clearly you don't only use your living room for business. But a lot of people don't understand that they can take a percentage of your interest, taxes, and insurance as a deduction for your home office or for your home business. Hopefully that answered the question.
When you say a percentage, do you mean like a percentage of just your home? Do you
Well,
mean
it's
a percentage of like
good question. So
utilities?
it's based on whatever percentage your home office or your business use percentages of your house compared to the full square footage of your home. So say it comes out to be 12% of your house, you get to take 12% of your utilities, interest, taxes, insurance, etc.
Cool.
Good question.
Well, so what would be a good write-off? Wasn't that part of the question?
For home, I mean, that's basically what you get for home businesses.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you really quick.
Okay.
So I just used a 1 and I put the lever down so you can see how that just like took that line away. For some reason, his hair, you can see that. I mean, this is weird lighting, but his hair always is like darker right here. So I usually have to cut this a little bit shorter, kind of at like an angle. And so this is what I'm saying. When I teach how to do a haircut, like you also need to take into consideration the hair that you're actually cutting, because I'm not doing it, so I can't see exactly what's going on. So for him, since he has darker hair right here, it'll be short, and then I like blend it up, if that makes sense. Okay, there was a few more questions that popped up.
Beard trim.
Trim.
They want the beard trim.
Okay, beard trim.
Someone said it's looking great. I assume they're talking about me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I just did...
All my baldness and my double chin. This is great. Yeah, I'm looking great. Super flattering.
I just did the beard trim a little bit ago, but I did a 1.5 right here. So if you can think about, I did like a 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. You're basically going to go opposite of the beard. So you're going to start short and go longer if you want to do a beard fade. So I've got the 1 and I'm going to keep the levers or the lever down so the blades are apart. Yes?
What do you do with all your free time since you don't have to make the drive for hair appointments?
Me?
I think that's for you.
What is free time?
Seriously,
Can you
right?
figure? All my free time. Actually, I'm not perfect at this, but I try really hard to like schedule in. Like I said the other day, like I have to put playing with my kids sometimes on my to-do list or else it doesn't get done. I mean, I think as moms, like we can clean all day long. Now running a small business, I can work all day long. And now with Wyatt doing taxes all day long, like he's just not really around. So I'm a major to-do lister, And if it's on the to-do list, it's going to get done. Like it's just one of those, like I just get it done. But yeah, free time, I would love to say that I cook really delicious meals and play with my kids. Good question. Okay, now I put a 2 on and I put the lever up so it's close together. Now I'm going to go up to get any of those really long straggler hairs. You do want to hold the skin tight because if you get the skin with these, it hurts. So hold the skin tight and then go down. We actually just kind of did this. We want to keep the beard a little bit longer, so I'm not going to do much more than this.
Abby Richards says you need to convince your husband or your cousin to get the box.
Spencer, you need this box. Actually, my aunt is a cosmetologist, and she's got like more talent in her little pinky finger. So she still cuts his hair. Abby, I still think he should let you get the box. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do for the beard trim. So you can see that. So the haircut is 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Scissor on the top, and then I did clipper and the scissors. Then I did this beard trim, and I did 1.5, 2, 2.5. Perfect. Okay, any more questions?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, we still need to do the outline. Wyatt does have to get back to work. But we're going to have to do this again. This wasn't nearly as bad as I was expecting. We'll get better with the camera angles.
Is it better decision to keep business taxes separate from other taxes? I think it's always better to keep your business taxes and personal taxes separate. I mean, by filing separately. I'm a big fan of LLCs and S corporations. So if you have a business that's making money, an LLC, it's called a limited liability company. You've got legal benefits for running it through a business. And you've also got tax benefits. See your local tax consultant for... it's too much. It's too much to get into. But yeah, I think keeping business and personal as separate as possible makes it the cleanest way to do it. Because if you ever get audited and you've got all your business and personal expenses mixed all on the same card, pretty tough to convince an auditor of what is what. So if you have a business account, even if you don't have an LLC, or even if it's a sole proprietor, but you have a separate business bank account, keeping everything as separate as possible is the best way to do it.
Good question.
How much do businesses make to do an LLC? If it's a husband and wife partnership LLC and there's any positive net income, an LLC is going to save tax. There's different things that go into it with earned income and depending on the family situation, kids. But yes, if it's a husband and wife partnership LLC, if there's any net income, net profit, it will save tax.
You're doing a great job at multitasking, raising your eyebrows, and answering those questions. Okay, any more?
Kaylee said, what's up, BDS?
Oh, BDS. Not a question, but you two are my faves. Oh, thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie.
All right, there he is. Okay, you can sit up. So, how are your abs?
Not good. He was my tailbone.
Oh, all right, here he is. Great
that
haircut.
is a good-looking haircut.
That is a good-looking dude. Good-looking haircut. All sponsored by the Haircut Box. I hope you guys are loving your boxes. I hope you just learned a little bit. Let us know if you want us to do... Sorry about the peck. Let us know if you want us to do more lives. And thank you, seriously, so much for joining. I've been nervous about it all day. I've kind of been like, the last 30 minutes, I was like walking around nervously. But this really wasn't that bad. So, thank you for joining. Would you like to do any ending words?
See ya.
Okay, now how do we close this out?
Not sure. Probably hit X.
Are you sure you want to end?